Marshall. Thurgood Marshall was born in 1908. He lived in Baltimore, Maryland. His father would listen to cases at the courthouse and return home to discuss the case. Marshall was a bit mischievous. One of his punishments was to memorize the entire Constitution. Marshall applied to the University of Maryland Law School. He was not allowed in because of his race. His experience made a lasting impression on Marshall. He attended law school at Howard University. It was another historically black school. He began working for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. In one of Marshall's cases, he defended an African American who had been denied entrance to the University of Maryland Law School. He won the case and many more that stopped racial segregation. Marshall's first victory before the Supreme Court came when he defended 4 black men who had been convicted of murder. His most important case was the Supreme Court case Brown v. Board of Education. In this case, Marshall challenged racial segregation. It also challenged the law of separation but equal. President John F. Kennedy appointed Thurgood Marshall as a judge for the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Marshall served as a judge for the next 4 years. He issued more than 100 decisions. None of the decisions was overturned by the Supreme Court. President Lyndon B. Johnson appointed Marshall to serve as the first black U.S. Solicitor General. Marshall won 14 of the 19 cases that he argued before the Supreme Court. President Johnson nominated Marshall to serve on the United States Supreme Court. Marshall was the first African American to serve on the nation's highest court. As a Supreme Court justice, Marshall worked for protection of individual rights. Marshall served on the Supreme Court for 24 years. He retired in 1991. Thurgood Marshall died on January 24, 1993. He was 84 years old.